She doesn't open her eyes. She doesn't have eyelids. One moment there is darkness and the pressure of a shell. The next, the shell is gone and the air is thick with information. Chemicals pour over her body like a language she was born already fluent in. They tell her the temperature of the room, the health of the colony, the fact that she is one of 300,000 and that she is worth nothing. She is a worker, sterile, expendable. She will never reproduce, never lead, never be remembered. Her entire life will be spent maintaining a machine that was running millions of years before she existed and will continue running long after she is carried to the graveyard chamber. Welcome to the most efficient operation on Earth. It has no CEO, no blueprint, no central command, and it hasn't failed once in over 100 million years. You're about to go inside. Deep below the surface, the colony hums, not with sound, with chemistry. Invisible signals ripple through the tunnels like current through a circuit board. Every surface is coated in data. Every body that passes leaves a trace. A worker returning from a food source doesn't report to anyone. She simply walks, and the molecules she leaves behind say everything. Where the food is, how far, how much, whether it's worth the trip. No ant reads a memo. No ant attends a meeting. The system doesn't need opinions. It runs on physics. At the center of it all is the queen. But forget everything that word makes you imagine. There is no throne, no crown, no authority. The queen is an organ, not a ruler. A biological egg production unit locked in a chamber she may never leave. She lays thousands of eggs per day. That is her only function. She will do this for up to 25 years. She does not know how many workers she has. She does not care. Now follow our worker. In her first days, she is pulled toward the nursery, not assigned, pulled. The pheromones in this part of the nest trigger something in her body, and she begins tending larvae, feeding them, cleaning them, moving them between chambers to regulate their temperature. She doesn't understand what she's doing. She doesn't need to. The chemistry handles it. This is the safe work, the easy shift, the entry-level position in a corporation that promotes based on one metric, how close to death you are. Because as she ages, her role will change, not by choice. The chemical environment around her will shift, and her body will respond. She'll move from nursery to construction, reinforcing tunnel walls, clearing collapsed passages, hauling soil, then to maintenance near the surface where the air is thinner and the threats are closer. And eventually, she'll be pushed to the most dangerous job in the colony, foraging. Leaving the nest entirely, stepping into open air where birds, spiders, and rival colonies are waiting. This is not cruelty. This is accounting. A young worker has years of labor left in her body. An old worker has weeks. The colony invests its safest roles in the individuals with the most future output and sends its oldest, most depleted workers into the situations most likely to kill them. The math is clean. The system is indifferent. No severance. No retirement. When she stops being productive, her job becomes dying in a way that costs the colony the least. 20 feet below the surface, the city reveals itself. Chambers branch off in every direction, each one purpose-built. Nurseries are held at precise temperatures. Food storage rooms are packed with processed vegetation. Resting quarters sit near the colony's center and sealed behind thick walls far from the living areas. The graveyard, a chamber where the dead are deposited to prevent disease from reaching the rest of the population. The architecture rivals human engineering. Ventilation shafts regulate airflow. Tunnel angles manage temperature. The design was never planned by any individual. It emerged, slowly, chemically, over millions of generations, from the accumulated behavior of workers who never once saw the whole. She steps onto the invisible highway. A cocktail of chemical signals tells her where to go, who to trust, and when to kill. Because the worst enemy of an ant is not a boot, it's another ant. At the edges of every colony, the tunnels open into a war zone. Territorial borders between neighboring colonies are not negotiated. They are maintained through constant grinding violence. Millions of workers die each month along these lines, not metaphorically, literally. Wars between ant colonies have been documented lasting decades, permanent conflicts with permanent casualties. The strategy would be familiar to any military commander. Small, cheap, expendable workers flood the front line. Their job is not to win. Their job is to absorb damage, to slow the enemy long enough for the larger soldier caste to arrive. The soldiers are heavier, stronger. Some weigh 500 times more than the workers dying at their feet. The workers are replaceable. The soldiers are not, so the workers die in enormous numbers, and the machine keeps running. Some colonies have taken this ruthlessness further than warfare. Slave-making ants raid neighboring nests, slaughter the adults, and kidnap the developing young. When these stolen larvae hatch, they've absorbed the chemical identity of their captors. They believe they belong. They spend their lives maintaining tunnels and raising the brood of the colony that murdered their families. But the slaves don't always comply. Researchers discovered that in some enslaved populations, the stolen workers quietly, deliberately destroy the pupae of the enslaving colony's queens. 83% killed before they could hatch. A silent rebellion carried out by individuals who never knew they were stolen. No pheromone told them to do it. No signal coordinated the resistance. Something in the system broke, and the slaves fought back. She is older now. The chemistry around her has shifted for the last time. The tunnels near the surface are brighter, warmer, more dangerous. The pheromone trail ahead of her leads to the one place she has never been. Outside. The tunnel opens, light floods in, not the faint amber glow of underground chambers, but raw, white, overwhelming daylight. She steps onto the surface and the world explodes in scale. Blades of grass rise around her like skyscrapers. Shadows drift overhead, each one a potential death sentence. The ground stretches in every direction with no walls, no ceiling, no chemical map to follow. She picks up a trail. Faint, a line of molecules left by a forager who came before her, who may or may not have made it home. She follows it. Every trip outside is a calculated sacrifice. The colony knows, statistically, that a percentage of foragers will not return. This loss is already budgeted. More eggs have already been laid to replace her. She was accounted for before she left. She finds food. A fragment of something organic, several times her body weight. She grips it, turns, and begins the walk home, laying her own chemical trail behind her. If she makes it back, other workers will detect her trail and follow it. The strongest trails attract the most traffic. The best food sources win. The worst are abandoned. No committee decides this. The chemistry decides. If she makes it home, she will do this again tomorrow, and every day after that until something kills her. When she dies, from a predator, a rival colony, or simple exhaustion, a nearby worker will detect the chemical signature of death on her body. She'll be picked up, carried to the graveyard chamber, and deposited alongside thousands of others. No mourning, no recognition, no memory that she ever existed. Now zoom out. This colony, 300,000 strong, is one node in a network of approximately 20 quadrillion ants alive on Earth right now. That's 2.5 million ants for every single human being. Their combined biomass may exceed every wild mammal on the planet combined. They farm. Leafcutter ants have been cultivating underground fungus gardens for 50 million years. That's roughly 49,700,000 years before humans planted their first crop. They wage war on a scale that mirrors human geopolitics. A single Argentine ant supercolony stretches 6,000 kilometers along the Mediterranean coast. Billions of workers, millions of nests, connected, cooperative, and at war with every colony outside their chemical border. No human corporation has lasted more than a few centuries. No government has survived more than a few thousand years. No civilization in the history of this planet has operated continuously for more than a sliver of the time that ant colonies have been running. 100 million years. Without a single leader. Without a single plan. Without a single individual who understood the system they were part of. The next time you see a line of ants crossing a sidewalk, stop. You're not looking at insects. You're looking at the edge of a machine so old, so large, and so perfectly optimized that everything humans have ever built is a rough draft by comparison. This is the revealed world, and we've only just scratched the surface.